Light the hearth and elevate your bed with bricks. For if you don't, you'll face the grasping claws of the Thokoloshe whilst you sleep. The Thokoloshe is an imp-like creature that originates from the regions of South Africa. Its folklore is shared amongst many of the indigenous South African tribes such as the Zulu, Sotho, and Xhosa. The manifestation of the Thokoloshe into the physical plane is usually done through two ways. The creature finds its way drawn to homes and communities through the spiritual presence of people. Usually these types of Thokoloshe are less malevolent as they are without a target on their mind. They can still be a nuisance through trickery, but a far cry compared to the second type of manifestation is through ritualistic summoning. A Thokoloshe is summoned by a Sangoma, aka South African witch doctor, by the use of a corpse. The physical attributes of a Thokoloshe resembles that of a Western imp-like creature. Their eyes are said to be gouged out along with a large gaping hole through their skull, said to be made by Sangoma by piercing through its skull with a hot metal rod. The gouged out eyes, the metal through the rod. By using these techniques, the Sangoma is able to subjugate it, bend its will to its own. These creatures' bodies are covered in a thin layer of fur all over, resembling that of a tiny primate-like creature. Their most defining physical attribute has to be their third appendage, the one right between their legs. It is said to be so long that it drags on the ground while it walks, and in order to prevent that from happening, they pick it up and swing it over their shoulders. Now you can imagine, although comically long and large, the amount of damage this little demon creature had to do with it is quite horrifying. Now, like many demons, the Thokoloshe itself requires a bargain. For utilizing its services, it doesn't come cheap. What the Thokoloshe requires is that of a soul of a beloved loved one or close friend. The catch is though, you can't choose who that is. The Thokoloshe will choose for you. And usually it will be the person that you value the most in your life, whether you're currently aware of it or not. So within 1 year of summoning, the sacrificed individual will suddenly die of a mysterious death, and thus having the Thokoloshe claim their soul. Now is this bargain between the Sangoma and the Thokoloshe? Not at all. The Sangoma is purely there as a middleman. Usually the other party would be a regular person seeking vengeance out of jealousy, and in so, they call upon the Sangoma to grant an audience with the Thokoloshe in order to bring it into the physical world and carry out its nefarious deeds on the person's victims. The true nature of Thokoloshes are very much similar to that of imps. Trickery, cunning, vile little creatures that often disrupt the house. Trickery is one thing. People fear the Thokoloshe not only of that, but the physical harm it causes to its victims. The Thokoloshe is said to commence the attack in the dead of night. While everyone is asleep, the Thokoloshe sneaks in and starts its process of debauchery and torture. For children, they'll scratch and gouge out the flesh from their thighs and backs, leaving it exposed and susceptible to infection and disease. It also attacks the child's minds through their dreams, causing it intense nightmares or bizarre dreams that when the child awakes, it alters them so much that they physically change in behavior. For adults, not only do they face the same threat, but much, much worse. Remember that third appendage I mentioned earlier? The one that's really gifted. That's right, it utilizes that to do just what you think it will do. Forced sexual intercourse for both men and women. Now on top of the sexual crimes the Thokoloshe does, it not only attacks the physical body, but also the mind. Like that of children, it induces nightmarish visions, but instead of strange dreams, it also induces a euphoric type of dream. So euphoric in fact, the victim wakes up in a frenzied state and becoming obsessed in fulfilling their deepest desires. And in the process of chasing such hedonism, the victim ruins their own life through the manipulation of the Thokoloshe. Now if the individual is so strong-willed that no carnal desires will affect them, the Thokoloshe will still get them one way or another, either through just continuous sexual torture through the night, or by a simpler way, and that of disease. Once the disease has settled in, the victim has very little it can do to escape its grasp. And before you know it, the physical body will have decayed, and the Thokoloshe will have claimed its second soul and leave for the afterlife. Now, with such a heinous demon lurking in the shadows, the average individual will never know whether they're targeted by the Thokoloshe or not. So in order to protect themselves in some way, shape or form, people would often put bricks and rocks underneath their beds in order to elevate it from the floor. Once the bed has been elevated, the short stature of a Thokoloshe will find it extremely difficult to make its journey all the way to the top in order to get to its victims. This small little adjustment could mean the life or death whilst being a target of the Thokoloshe. Now, mythology aside, the way to prevent a Thokoloshe from harming oneself is quite interesting. It is said in the past, many families used to sleep on the floor, with their hearth raging on through the night. Now, the thing is, with the fire on, the buildup of carbon dioxide often concentrates itself on the ground level, which one can imagine with prolonged exposure with so much carbon dioxide on the ground, that eventually some form of ailment or issue will start to arise. Needless to say, nightmares and sense of euphoric dreams could be possible caused by the influx of carbon dioxide into the body. So naturally, the solution to sleep on the higher ground would most likely solve the issue from carbon dioxide poisoning, which indirectly will solve the issue to protect oneself from the Thokoloshe. But as we all know, that's just one side of the story, and there could be a multitude of reasons as to the origins and true nature of a Thokoloshe. But that, in summary, is what the Thokoloshe does, what it looks like, how it acts. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do like it, I'll appreciate a like and subscribe, but if not, thanks for watching anyway, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.